A very good morning, welcome back to the plot. This video is just going to be a gardening video. I've got a few things that I need to get done and I wanted to show you what's been going on since I did a recent small holding tour. I didn't include the veg plot. This isn't really a tour of what's going on in the veg plot, it's just what we're getting done today so that I can then get on with and do the tour. Now Stephen has just gone out, he's busy for an hour, so I've got at least an hour or so because we are doing another project today which is around the chickens. It's like Project Chicken Fence, which I need a better name for. We're going to move the chickens around. On the tour video that I've just mentioned, for some reason I forgot to talk about the chickens, so I'm not sure why. Anyway, doing that video today I'll be able to give everybody an update of what's happening with the chickens anyway. We're just giving them a bit more space and things, so it'll be nice to take you along for that. But in this video we're just going to be in the garden. As I say, I'm not going to do a tour of everything. I've just got a few things that I need to get done because tomorrow we have people coming round who are coming to see the plot. Now the people that are coming absolutely love them. They used to run a stately home. They used to be the head gardener and head housekeeper. The stories that they have told me are absolutely fantastic. So he's coming, well they're both coming tomorrow, but he's coming to see the veg plot. I had to go and get my my stick because my arm's really aching. So yes, head gardener, head housekeeper, coming to have a look at the veg plot tomorrow. Now as you guys know, we don't do tidy up for the videos or anything like that. What you see is what you get. It's literally just real life of what's going on, but it's a little bit special having them come just to see the plot. This is like once a year they'll do this and make the effort because they really enjoy coming to see it, and he kind of relives some of his days gone by of running the stately home gardens. There was two actually that he used to run. I won't mention them, but he's told me some brilliant stories of them. He also used to have access to the stables. So if you've ever seen the Victorian kitchen garden or the wartime kitchen and garden, I think is the right way around for that one. It just reminds me of that, and maybe that's not how it was, but that when they're telling me these stories, that's kind of the pictures that I conjure up in my mind, so I get taken away with a little bit of it all. So I want this place looking as shipshape as it can for them. As I say, I don't normally do that, but I really want to make the effort and have them enjoy it when they come, and I want to be proud of it as well. So today we are going to get in the rest of the outdoor tomatoes. I've made a start on that. There's a little bit more of the weeding that I want to get done. Stephen has obviously been doing the mowing of the lawns that I mentioned and the trimming back of some of the hedges and things. There's quite a bit more that needs doing generally, not just for these guys coming tomorrow. So we're going to have a bit of a busy day in that respect. So I thought I'd just take you along, show you what I get done in the garden today. It's going to be at different periods of the day as I go off to help with Stephen with the other project and things, and we'll just have a general update, and then when it's all done, after those guys have been, I'll do a tour of the veg plot and the gardens, and we'll all have an update together and sit down and just have a nice little chat after it's all done. Right, I'm going to get started with these tomatoes. I made a start on them last night. Let me show you what that looks like now quickly. So I'm hoping that the frosts have all passed now. We are due just really nice weather, which is fantastic because it's been terrible. So I've managed to get these tomatoes in so far. We've got a few different varieties. Down this edge here that I'm stood next to, I'm going to put all aromas because I believe that they're determinate and you don't pinch out the shoots on those. Anyway, I'm not going to, and I will pinch out the shoots on these ones down here, which are all the cordon types, which means that basically this is the main stem, and this is a truss coming off here. You will get sometimes, which I've already taken out on this one, there's a little, you can see there's a little growth, an extra bit that shoots up here that we just snap out on these types. I don't know, does everybody do that? Do you have the difference between cordon, the interdeterminate and the determinate? It's all a little bit too much technical talk for this time on a Saturday morning. Right, I'm going to go and get some more tomatoes and I'm going to get started with getting those planted. I've actually only got 3 romas left, which looks to be the perfect amount to get in this row, so that's really good. Now the romas, I believe, are going to be like a paste tomato. That's why I got them. I'm pretty sure that romas are a paste tomato. So your plum type tomatoes that you get, you know, in the tin tomatoes. So hopefully, so what will I have? So I've got 3, 4, 6, I don't know if that one on the end is, so at least 6 Roma plants. Be interesting to see how many tomatoes or how much in weight tomatoes I get off these. Now obviously growing undercover, you know, is your best option for your highest yield for tomatoes, but I've had good success with a variety called Outdoor Girl outside, which I haven't got this year, so it doesn't sound, I've had good success with it, but I haven't done it. And the reason for that was just I put the tomatoes in a little bit later, the seeds, this year. Just didn't want to kind of get ahead and have too many to look after and then end up with loads in the house. I haven't checked that you can actually see my face. Not that you necessarily want to see my face, but I just hope you're not looking at my backside or something. That's not gonna put you off your breakfast. I'm just taking off the dead leaves because they're not going to be any good to anybody. So trying to remind myself not to pinch out the sides on these ones. It almost comes naturally now, so remind me when I forget. All of these aromas, and the last one, they've got tags on, but sometimes the tags seem to disappear. The last one's in this corner. Now next to these, there, I'm just going to take off that leaf because it's dead. Here next to these, I'm not sure if that's on screen or not, I put in a load of coriander seeds. So I've planted this bed up now. Once I get all these tomatoes around the edges, that'll be the last plants to go in. The rest of the bed is seeds and leek plug plants. So thank you for the feedback that I got on what to put in this bed. I've decided on, there's parsnips in the middle, well, the middle up to the edge. Oh, this one doesn't want to play. There's parsnip seeds. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of parsnips, I think, or 3 or 4, I can't see from here. And then I've got the leek plug plants in the rest. So I will show you that now. That didn't take long. These need watering, of course. You might be able to hear, I've just been to get the watering can full of water. You might be able to hear it in the background. The duck's pond is filling up, so I've stopped to do that as well. It's going to be an absolutely scorcher of a day here. Well, a scorcher for us in the northeast of England. That's like about 17 to 18. For you guys down south or somewhere in the rest of the world, that might be a pretty cool day, but for us, we don't often get temperatures that warm. Having said that, we did have the heat wave last year. I was going to say last night, trying to multitask. We did have the heat wave last year, and we got up to late 30s on a couple of days, which again is unheard of for us. So I'm wondering, you know, is that a thing now? Is that what our summers are going to look like? And not necessarily saying it's, you know, global warming or anything like that. I think it's just, personally, I think there's just a shift with the cycle of Mother Nature. I'm not going to go down that path though, not today. Right, those tomatoes are in, the Romas look really nice along there. I'm just wondering, I'm just suddenly conscious, how are we going to net this? Now the reason I might want to net it, as you guys know, is that we get cats from our neighbours coming in and visiting and leaving gifts in the veg beds, and I don't want the gifts, as rude as that may sound, I don't want their gifts that they're leaving. So I don't want any of these seeds being dug up. So these are the parsnips here. So we've got Javelin, I think it was, it's an F1, and there's also a Sabre F1. Now these seeds are not this year's seeds, so if they don't come up, I will be having to put plug plants in there. But again, I wanted to give the seeds a try, not just go out and buy some more. And these leeks may have gone in a little bit too early, a little bit too small, but I just wanted to get them in. And I think because the leeks and the parsnips will be in for a long time, that's what I was saying. Thank you for those suggestions, for everybody that contributed, really appreciate it. The leeks and the parsnips are going to be in for a long time, so I won't be in messing on with those once they start coming through. I'll obviously just weed the bits that have already started to turn up, and then the tomatoes around the outside I'll be able to get to easily accessible, without having to step over the things that are growing there. So yeah, I'm really pleased with those suggestions, so thank you for that. If you're wondering about the wheelie bin in the background, that's just a contraption that we have. It's not been set up yet this year because we've just cut all of this back here. This was covering it, so you couldn't get in at the moment. There is literally a downpipe from the greenhouse that goes into a hole in the wheelie bin, and then this fills up, and you can lift the lid and put your watering can in. There's a tap on the bottom, but it's not very useful because the bin's not high enough to be able to get to the tap. anyway, I'm going to show you the ducks for a little bit because I think that that's something really nice to look at. They're just around here. It's quite wet this morning. The dew on the grass is still for my trainers. I had my wellies on to feed the animals, and I've swapped my trainers to do these jobs because I don't like wearing the wellies in the veg garden. I'm going to get some footage of these ducks now, I think. What have they been up to? I haven't watched the footage yet. Right, what I've been doing while you've been watching the ducks is putting 4 tomatillos in. So let's have a look where we're up to. Grab the watering can and water while we're talking. I've done the first 2. So I've just got 4. These are real seeds tomatillos. I did put 6 seeds in, I think it was in total. No, 6 came up out of what I did. And then we lost 1. I think 1 got eaten by something, if you remember rightly. So I'm just giving them a good water, and then next to them, that kind of corner square that's got nothing in it is the coriander seeds, which I'll actually give a water as well, because we had rain yesterday, but this sorry, finish what I'm doing and I can concentrate. But this area here, the concern I've got about putting the tomatoes here, and we shall see how it works out, is it's quite shaded. So in the height of summer, there's lots of leaves on these trees, and also there's I can't remember what that is, something climbing, and it's quite shaded here. So that's my concern, anything that goes in this bed. Having said that, you know, it does get sun for a lot of the day. It's just not as much as the rest of these beds, as you can see. So we'll just have to see how we get on. The tomatoes need the sun, tomatillos do as well. So it'll be an interesting experiment, and just depends on what weather we get for the rest of the year, how harsh it is or not. So now I'm going to go grab those pots, grab my trowel, and I'm going to make a start on the ones in the greenhouse. I've hired in some help. I've asked Jack to come out and help. So the kids, they don't want to. They don't like necessarily being in the garden and helping, but I think it's really important that they do. So, you know, being stuck inside on your technology all day, which is what my son's more interested in, you know, is not, in my opinion, is not ideal for them. Grace doesn't do that. She is out, but doing her own thing, not necessarily helping in the garden. So I do say to them that they need to help out, you know, for a few hours on a weekend. It's not much to ask, I don't think, and I think it's good skills. So as part of that, Jack is busy helping me get manure from, we've got a super old patch of muck. If you saw the recent tour on the small holding, you'll see that we've got the compost that is not ready to use. So I checked it and it's still hot, so it won't be able to use it because it'll burn the plants. That'll be ideal for putting on the beds in the autumn, so October, November time. But right now we are having to go down and get this barret of manure from an older patch of compost that we'd stopped using. And it's just quite difficult to get to, but anyway, we're going to have to do that today because that's going to enable us to get the tomatoes planted up in these other tubs, because I don't want to be filling them just with obviously shop bought compost. It costs a fortune, so that's the next job. We are about 10:15. I think we said about 11 o'clock to get the chicken project started. Jack is doing an absolutely fantastic job of filling these up. I'm so pleased because it's that bit that just takes up so much time. While he's doing that, I'm getting on with other stuff. I've been weeding all round where I'm stood in front of the greenhouse just because it was getting a little bit much, and just have a bit of shade, to be honest, because I'm not going to complain, but it is getting really warm. I've also been in the polytunnel, taking out some of the weeds that have sprouted up in there. It needs a good water, and I'm going to get this planted up with tomatoes. There's not going to be any tomatillos in here, but there will be peppers. So I think I'll do a row of I'm just thinking I'm not going to have any tomatillos inside because there's 4 outside. I might have 1 in here or 1 in the greenhouse. Anyway, there's going to be peppers and tomatoes, and we'll see where we have an indoor tomatillo because I don't want them all outside. It needs sweeping. I need to have a chat with Stephen about the back of the polytunnel, because if you remember rightly, there was some, was it chicken bedding or sheep bedding? Can't remember, at the back there, and I think he said he wants it off the plasticky bit, what do you call it, the cover. So I'm going to get it swept. I've weeded what was in there because there was a few weeds sprouting through. It's an absolute mess because we had the chickens in there for lockdown. So this was the gate on the front, which will suit us actually, to keep it closed to stop the birds and anything else getting in when we plant this up. I've got randomly 4 onions in. There's nothing else in here at the moment, There's a few weeds at the back. Let's go in, but it's super warm. A few weeds at the back coming through the bedding, and I've just tipped a plant pot in there, but I'm going to ask Steve what he thinks is best to do about this, because I'm wondering if I could just put a few of my propagated blackcurrant bushes in here and get an early crop on those guys next year. Anyway, I'll see what he says. There's 2 dill plants in here. This was my experiment to see how 1 seed of dill will turn out. So they're just kind of sat happy in the corner. So there was other plants in here. Sorry, that wasn't true. As I say, we did everything that I can. There's 1 rogue nettle. I want to get my gloves on to get that out because I'm sick of being sat on a night with throbbing fingers from nettle stings. I'm going to sweep down here now. This is all the leftovers from Flockdown. So in the winter we can have the chickens in here, which isn't ideal, but we don't, you know, I don't really have much of a choice in the matter. Because it doesn't get too hot in there in the winter obviously for them, and it provides a nice protection, and it means that we can comply with the lockdown rules. It just means come the spring, for me it's quite a job to get it tidied out and sorted for planting, but we've done it. I've just noticed a couple of weeds that I've missed. So I'm going to get the pathway swept now. Let's get these guys while we're in here together. Oh, it's just off the compost actually, it's not too bad. This is because this is from the horses, so any grass seed that's just passed through them will just grow, so it's not too big of a deal there. Oops, don't fall. So I'm going to go get the brush, sweep it, and then get planted up with the rest of the tomatoes that we've got here. Swap hands. So this is my working bench at the moment. I've got all sorts, so we've got sun gold in here, black Russian. I've got a couple of big mamas, which I didn't have many. Where are you? This one. Big mama, this is another paste tomato, but I only had a couple of seeds and I wasn't going to fork out for any more this year. So I'm going to make sure they're in pots in the greenhouse. But all of the rest I'll spread out between the polytunnel and pots in the greenhouse. As you can see, there's plenty. And I've also got, I've got the ground cherries. Decisions. I do this every year, so I've got far too much stuff. Well, you can never have too much stuff, can you? As a gardener. No such thing as too much seeds, too many plants or anything. I just need to figure out where to put them all. So maybe I'll have a tomatillo and ground cherries in one side of the polytunnel. I'm wondering if I could just grow them at the back instead of the currants, and then just do the currants in pots for this year. And when the tomatillos and everything are finished, put them in. I don't know, what do you think? I'll see what Stephen says. He's much more down to earth on decisions than I am. I'm kind of, I get a little bit away with the fairies and do too much, whereas he'll keep me grounded. So I'll check with him when he gets back, and we're going to go over and get that chicken project done in a bit. But as I say, Jack's doing all of these pots. When he's finished those, I'll just get as many tomatoes in as I can, and we'll get them put back neatly into the greenhouse, and I'm hoping that I can get tidied up in there. But it's good to have all hands on deck. My daughter's not helping at the moment, she's not very well today. We'll maybe see her later on this afternoon. Polytunnel first. I won't interfere with Jack while he's doing that, because no doubt I'll get on his nerves. Before it gets too hot, which it is, let's have actually a look what it is. It's 31.3 in here at the moment. Stephen's back, as you can see, which is really hot for me. I'm not a heat person. This pot here is a brilliant huge pot, but it's got a massive split in it. So it's nice to have the big space, but I haven't taken it outside for Jack to do, because it'll probably fall apart, and I need to be careful when watering, because not only does terracotta absorb the water, the moisture, it can also leak out of there. But I am planning on leaving it there to put one of the bigger things in. I'm clearing this space here ready for when we bring in all of these pots. So I've literally, you can see I've took everything out of the greenhouse that was in this space. I haven't swept this yet. I need to weed under here and get these sorted too. And then later on, we'll be able to get all of these filled up with the tomatoes. I'm going to leave Jack to get on with his stuff, fill in the rest of these. So when Stephen and I have finished our little project, or big project, we'll be able to just get the tomatoes in. You ready to go?
Let's do this.
Right, I will be back later with an afternoon update. This is where we've got to. I forget every year how long these things take to get done. So Stephen and I have been working on a different project, which you'll see shortly, or if it's not already out on a different video. So at the moment, this is what this looks like. I've got a ton more to do, but that's where we're finishing for today. So I'm so pleased, because we've also got the outdoor tomatoes in over there. Decided not to net those. I'll just see how it goes with the cats. I've got the cold frame open and just generally trying to get a bit of air to everything. Watered those that need it, and then we'll see what tomorrow morning brings. It's also been super warm, so we've been trying to stay in the shade whilst doing the other project that we've done, which includes the ducks and the chickens, and that's took up a lot more time. Everything takes up more time than it used to, or than planned. In your head you can get through these things quicker sometimes. Anyway, I'm really pleased with what's got done today. I might come out a little bit later on when it cools off and do another hour. We'll see what tonight brings, but for now I'm going to end the video, and after I've had everybody around tomorrow, I will take you around and do May's walk around of the garden, the veg plot, etc. So thank you for watching. If you like the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and I'll speak to you very soon.